Slowly. The guy who did the presentation for the boys the other day, he speaks a very strong South African accent, so you won't be able to understand a word that he says.
We've had training.
So as said, my name's Justin. I'm actually one of the paid staff members at CSG. Although we are a volunteer organisation, there are 8 of us who are paid, and I look after all the internal operations of the organisation. CSG, as an organisation which stands for the Community Security Group, we're ultimately responsible for the security of the Jewish community. The CSGs that exist all throughout the world, in most countries where there's Jewish representation, there's CSGs in Hong Kong, there's CSGs in South America, throughout Europe, and South Africa and the UK as well. The only place that doesn't have CSG is the States. They're slowly setting it up. But the main reason is for outside of those here from the States, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but outside most shores and schools, there's police who stand outside. And if we had police standing outside our schools and shores, we probably wouldn't have a need for CSG here either. So the whole, I suppose, premise and concept about CSG is that we use Jewish volunteers to protect the Jewish community because there's a vested interest in wanting to protect our own community, and that's how we exist. So we've got 200 volunteers. That's a little bit about us. I've been there as a volunteer for 12 and a half years, so that's a little bit about me. So the reason which we've been asked here to come talk to you is for the purpose that you're all to be going on a camp very shortly, I believe in the next week or two.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Although CSG doesn't send anyone on the camp to provide security, and although there's no security guards there, and we conduct assessments and we decide that there's not necessarily a need to have security on the camps, we try to speak to the people who are in charge and give them some education and some advice about some things that can be done in those situations. So I suppose everyone's a little more security and safety conscious, and to us a lot of those terms interrelate. Going on these camps, there'll be a large number of kids who may be going away for the first time, maybe going away for, maybe been away previously, but we're taking people who are, and especially in the Chabad community, generally more visibly Jewish, to an area that is not necessarily as populated by the Jewish community, or who may not have ever heard of a Jewish person previously or had any interactions with them. So it's important that we understand that we're going into a different environment. We're leaving, I suppose, the confines of St Kilda and heading up past Dandenong Road, which for some people may not travel too far past that. The idea is that we sort of understand the environment. So when we look at, I suppose, the understanding, we generally look at a few different areas we want to be aware of. And the first one we sort of speak about is our terminology being suspicious people, but I suppose what we term to a lot of people is stranger danger, which is the terminology that's more commonly used with younger people. So we understand that the campsites that you're going to are generally occupied only by your camp, and that's a great initiative and something that's really important to have. But that being said, people often, we've had this on previous camps, either may use the campsite as a thoroughfare because they live in the area and they may walk through the campsite, or they may walk past the area and may see what's going on and may be considerate about it. So when we speak about a suspicious person, what are the sort of factors that maybe come into your mind that you think about when we say, what's a suspicious person? Like, what are some of the behaviours that a person may be exhibiting that may make you think that a person is behaving in a suspicious manner?
Twitching the eyes.
Twitching the eyes, okay, so twitching the eyes, so they may be sort of looking uncomfortable in their environment, and that could potentially be a way that they may be acting suspiciously. What else could there be?
They're in an area where they don't belong.
It could be an area where they don't belong. Okay, so they definitely don't look like they belong in the area. So whatever the situation is, they definitely don't look like they belong in the area, and it's definitely out of place. What else?
Looking behind them.
Looking behind them. Okay, so they're very conscious